Meet Lexi Staples, a well-loved, prominent figure in the LGBTQIA+ community, an accomplished artist, and the founder of Toledo Pride, which now attracts over 20,000 participants each year. Lexi's lifelong passion for the arts led her to become the artistic director of the Collingwood Art Center, where she inspires others to pursue their creative passions. Her commitment to creating a safe and inclusive community is admirable, and her journey is inspiring. We're thrilled to welcome Lexi as a guest on the Heart of Glass podcast, where she shares her contagious energy, passion for Toledo, and aspirations for the future. So join us as we dive into Lexi's unique journey. I still can't believe that we're doing this because you were the very first person that I asked to do this last year, so I'm so happy that we're finally making it happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to Nicole Corey. Right?
I know, seriously. Actually, we should probably give her credit for this because I feel like she is the reason that this is happening.
She's good at getting me to do what she wants me to do.
Yeah. So when you submitted your application, I kind of cracked up because it was pretty much everything that I thought it was going to be. You gave me about as much information as
you expected.
Yeah.
Is that a lot or not that much?
No, it wasn't, but
Both,
that's okay because I really like the research portion of things. So I did a really fun Google search.
Oh God.
Yeah, and was kind of all
pictures.
over.
Yeah, there are some really bad Google pictures.
There were definitely a lot of old pictures and
like, that's a good one. That works.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Love it.
Definitely. Well, we've been friends for a while, but I'm pretty sure that this is definitely going to be the longest we have ever spoken in succession because
I believe that.
I feel like most of the time when we see each other, it's at an event or just in passing or something.
Good to see you. Thanks.
Yeah. So I'm excited to actually have an extended conversation 100%. With you. Yeah, and to learn more about you.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, we should have. In this small room, I feel like that would have gotten.
We could just open that window.
That's true. I didn't even think of it. Just set it out the sounds in post. It'd be fine. All right, so
let's be serious.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So I am very interested to know because I've only known you as an adult. What were you like as a kid?
So maybe slightly more nervous.
Really?
Yeah. I would say nervous and quiet. Until I feel comfortable. That's still kind of how I am, but people don't see that part because I feel comfortable most of the time.
I see.
But when I'm uncomfortable, I'm kind of take a back seat and just wait till I catch my bearings. But yeah, when I was a kid, I was pretty low key by comparison until I was in high school, and then I kind of found my way in my voice, and that people would like me more if I was jokey about myself.
Okay.
So
all right.
Take myself a little, not that I ever took myself very seriously, but a little less seriously in order to kind of like find my path.
Okay. So do you feel like that kind of stemmed from a desire to connect more overall with people, or did you just kind of figure out, hack for yourself that was what needed to happen in order for you
to be more outgoing?
Yeah.
I think it was pretty much because I was gay in a school where there weren't a lot of I guess people who were out in any way or at all, and it wasn't a comfortable space to be. So in order to be truly myself, I had to be truly and kind of like loudly, but maybe not loud is the wrong word, but like overtly who I was.
Okay. So what was coming out like for you?
I think I had a pretty good experience. I was raised Unitarian Universalist, so pretty open religion, very open religion, not pretty actually. So I never had that whole, I guess, shaming. I did go to Catholic school as a little kid, so I guess there was a little bit ingrained in me. And just from hanging out around people, I guess people's opinions rub off on you, right?
That's very true. Yeah, definitely.
So that's a thing. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy for me. My mom kind of caught me red-handed with something that I had written to an ex-girlfriend, and so she was like, wait a second. So that took me a minute to kind of come back to bonding with my mom or whatever. And she couldn't be more supportive, and I mean, she literally lives with us and takes care of our kids and is a great support to us. So
do you think having her when you were coming out made a difference in it not being as painful of an experience as it could be?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. And just being raised in a community. I mean, my high school was not welcoming, but I had a community of Unitarians that I knew who all had like crazy hair and, you know, dressed weird and seemed wildly normal to me in a space where I didn't feel normal otherwise. So I was like, I kind of had a respite from my normal life and knew that there were more people like me than I could see.
That's awesome. I think a really tough part for some people in our community when they are coming out is if they really don't have community in the sense that they have people that are surrounding them and supporting them. That definitely makes you feel even more isolated. And,
100%.
And more just different from everybody, which makes it really hard to feel okay, I think, with yourself, right?
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
So you and your mom have always been close.
Yeah. There were a couple years where I was mad at her from the whole I read something I shouldn't have read incident. But other than that, yeah, we've been like super, super close. And, you know, I think that's like really, really important. My dad and I were very close. My brother was the one when I was a young kid saying, that's so gay, to be like, you don't say that, Lexi, you don't say that. I have gay friends. I'd be like, whatever. So, you know, like my straight brother was schooling me from the time I was like, you know, 10 or whatever. So pretty cool.
It's good to have
I mean, like my brother was just like, stop saying that. And so I was like, I didn't say fine. I would not concede, obviously. I say what I want. But yeah, so I don't know, I don't know. I think it's great to have a supportive family and supportive people surrounding you.
Yeah, most definitely. So how do you feel like your upbringing influenced your current career?
So my dad wasn't college educated. My mom was. My dad did do some college, but he was mostly like a theater guy. And he was a local DJ here. I don't know if you remember Kelly and Staples. Tall guy named Bob Kelly and a short guy with a big old beard named Dennis Staples. So that was my dad. So he was very successful and hadn't gone to college. I think because of my ADHD and my math deficits that kind of go along with some of my other issues, I was like, I don't have to go to college. And you know, I think I found something that would suit me and make me happy. My parents always said they wanted me to be happy. And so like I kind of took that seriously and found things that make me happy, not necessarily things that make me financially secure. That's not what I've ever been looking for. So much to, you know, everyone's dismay sometimes, right? So well, I'm not the breadwinner. My wife definitely is.
At least
that's just where we are. Somebody's got to get the bread, and it's not me.
Well, I'm actually really happy for you that you were given that freedom, because I know I was raised to believe that college was the thing, and I know that's not uncommon at all. So I can imagine, just based on what you said you were dealing with, that probably was very freeing to realize that you weren't tied to that. And that you know, it's not all about, obviously, like you said, we all need to make money.
100%.
But being able to actually have the option to not make it all about money.
Well, and the cool my parents were whenever I was in my 20s, it was like, you will go to college and you will keep your health insurance. And that was like because if you went to college, I can't remember what the deal was. Something, my mom was a TPS teacher, and it was like, if you go to college until you're 26, as long as you were enrolled in fall semester. Now you're supposed to be a full-time student annually, but they only checked at fall semester. So I only felt, compelled to go to school. So I went to a lot of fall semesters in my early 20s.
Nice.
To keep my health insurance at my parents'.
That's a good way to hack it.
Yeah. My parents are like, you will be clean on paper, and I was like, yes, I will. So I got some really cool opportunities, and that's where I got into sculpture. My buddy Jim Havens taught a sculpture class then. He's now in his early 80s, but he taught me how to do lost wax casting and gave me my first set of stone chisels. He's just like the super coolest guy. But yeah, I mean, college I think is really, really great. I just have always had a math deficit. Like I honestly probably now have like the math skills of like a fourth grader, but unlike my teachers said, I have a calculator in my pocket. They was like, it's not like you're gonna have a calculator in your pocket. Jokes on them.
That, I mean, seriously,
right?
Though,
I was
is
like,
so valid, because any math that I have ever had to do as an adult, since I don't work in a profession where you're doing some type of very extensive math,
right.
is the math that I can do in my calculator on my phone.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's been really, I mean, like that's been a thing that has made it so that I could do everything I need to do to be successful.
That's awesome.
So
that's tough when you have such amazing strengths in several areas or even one area, and then when you have a little bit of a deficit in another area, that can be so frustrating, because that can kind of become a barrier and make it so that would be a really frustrating experience to go through college.
For sure. Well, yeah, they were like, well, if you don't do this, you'll never graduate. And I was like, good thinking, I'm never going to graduate. So that was never my plan all along. But yeah, I was in special needs. Well, when I was a junior, they were like, hey, you failed math your freshman and your sophomore year. You need 2 credits. That means you have to pass this year and next year. And I was like, oh, I can't take math. It's too stressful. So my senior year, they're like, you're not going to graduate. And so I went to the special needs class, and that was really freeing, and
that's great.
Taught me a lot of the more basic skills that like I didn't have and probably still don't have, because like you only retain stuff you use, and I've chosen not to use math.
That's great.
It's a choice. Math is a choice.
Math.
I think most things are a choice, depending on, you're just like, I'm not going to English today. I'm not going to English. Well, then don't.
Math is a choice.
Right. I just think it is. Kids should know. The kids should know.
Exactly. It's nice to know that everything is a choice.
Right. I'm like, I feel like you should learn how to do your taxes, but if not, you should just learn how to give someone your taxes to do.
Yeah, as
just
long as you can hand them off.
Set that money aside. You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. So you opened Outskirts with your mom in 2008, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's true.
Okay. So what motivated you to open the space in the first place? And was this something that you initiated the idea, or did your mom initiate the idea?
Great question. So my mom and I were caretaking for my dad before he passed away.
Okay.
And then my dad died, and we had nothing to do. And my friend Brenda was selling Gildas, which is what Outskirts used to be. And I was like, Mom, we should buy a lesbian bar. And she was like, what? And I was like, it'll be great. And she was like, why can't it just be like a welcoming bar?
Yeah.
And I was like, a lesbian bar is the first place I ever felt comfortable going to the bathroom. The first place I ever felt like somebody wasn't going to misgender me when I tried to pee. And she was like, okay, it's a lesbian bar then.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. So this little kindergarten school teacher from TPS is like, I own a lesbian bar with my daughter.
That's
and
amazing.
It's like
That's
so
amazing.
funny. Like I was just like, yeah, you'll be fine. It was great. And it was really fun.
I know what you mean about the comfortability factor, because Outskirts was actually my very first gay bar experience ever.
Oh, yay. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so
That's
much.
dope.
I distinctly remember, because I was in my early 20s, and I remember walking in, and I thought that I was going to feel incredibly anxious, because I just really had never been in that environment before. And I actually remember feeling the polar opposite,
And just being like, I can just sit down.
feeling comfortable. Yes, because for the most part, I, like many other people in our community, have felt very different over the course of my life. And so it was so amazing to walk into a space for the first time and just be like, oh,
yeah,
wow,
this
there
is
are other
what home
people
feels
like
like.
me. Yes.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, my first spot, I was 15, and it was Blue Jeans at the time. Like, so Blue Jeans was open for a bunch of years. I think they closed somewhere around 2011. No, it had to be before that. It had to be, I think, 01. I think I'm getting my decades mixed up, but I think it closed in 01. But yeah, there was like, then there was just nothing for a while. And Gilda's opened up and filled that void, which was really cool. And then Brenda was ready to get out of the bar business, because it is a tiring business to be in, like anything that has late nights, I think. So yeah, she and I talked about it, and it was 2008, which was not a good time to open a business, as everyone knows. But it was really fun, and I have no regrets, and it led me to where I am now. And we were able to start Pride because of it. So it's nothing but an honor to have gotten to do that for our community.
That's amazing. So if you can kind of think back over the time that Outskirts was in existence, do you have any memories that stand out specifically that are some of your fondest ones?
There's a pirate party that was something to speak of. I really liked that. We did an event called Tucked, which was dope.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, it was so cool. And like, I mean, we like velvet curtained the walls, and you know, like there a bunch of the people that hung out at Outskirts all the time helped with it.
That's awesome.
And then a lot of the drag performers, and we did these ridiculous skits and raised money for, one of them was Project I Am. Yeah.
Really?
So we raised money for a bunch of different nonprofits, which was really cool. And just a way to give back to the community. And, you know, then the other thing is just we started Toledo Pride because of it. And so my mom was basically like, okay, now we own a bar. What else are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know. Drink at that bar? She was like, okay, what are you going to do also? And I was like, you know, it's just like, well, Toledo had never had a Pride. And I think my friend, I don't know, Gina or I reached out. One of us reached out to the other, and we hooked up with Equality Toledo, and, you know, sat down and had a couple meetings, and we were like, okay, well, here's the date. This is what we're doing. Let's make some posters with like Sharpies and spray paint. And that was it.
It was amazing because I was at the
you were at the first one.
I was at the very first one, and I still remember being down at the Air Street Market.
Yeah.
And it was so awesome.
It was so cool. It was so cool and very unexpected. I bragged that I was going to get 1,000 people there, and couldn't stop my mouth from saying that. And everyone's like, "There's no way." And I was like, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just come. We'll get 1,000 people." And then there were like 2,500 people throughout the day. And we're like, "Oh, we weren't prepared for that. That's more than we're ready for. So could you guys leave, or we're not leaving? No one's leaving. Okay, fun." And it's just like, you know, what we could do with it. We had $500 as seed money, and then one person gave us an additional $400. And that was everything that happened at Pride that year. So
that's so crazy. When you first started that conversation with your mom about Outskirts, would you have, at that point, if somebody would have told you this is going to kind of be the thing that is the jumping off point for me starting Toledo Pride, would you have?
No, we didn't have that? Yeah, we didn't have Pride in the, that wasn't even part of the idea. We were just like, we could do a bar. It'll be great. And it was like something to kind of fill the void that my dad left. You know what I mean? Like, just like, what are we going to do with ourselves now? Since it was kind of a, you know, one of us was with my dad at all times. Like, there wasn't a time that he was, you know, alone. So it's like, now what do we do? Let's do weird stuff. And my mom was like, sure, sounds reasonable. And everyone's like, don't make a big decision for like a year after you have like a traumatic loss. So I was like, so we're 3 weeks out. What do you think about a bar? Neither of us have any experience. And I had just started dating Nicole. And she was a bartender, and Tori and I were like besties, and she bartended at Gilda's, and it was like, this is a terrible idea. We should do it. And so we did.
Amazing.
And we stayed a pretty strong part of the community for 6 years, and then we thought we should call it quits and try and figure out how to start a family. Nicole was like, you can't be sweeping floors at 4 a.m.
It's like one gigantic venture/adventure to a whole other one.
Right.
Yeah. So speaking of Nicole, so you said you met while Outskirts was still going.
We met at Gilda's.
You met at Gilda's.
At Gilda's,
okay.
on the dance floor.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So did you two were you two totally into each other right off the bat? Or,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. 100%. And then actually that was right before my dad passed away.
Wow.
And then, you know, I don't drink and drive, never have. So I was walking home, because I always did, from there. And I talked to her on my little pink Razor phone the whole way home, and just kind of had like super good feelings about her. And then like threw my phone in the toilet accidentally. It was like a whole debacle. And I'm like, call you back, whatever. And then my dad got really sick right away. Like, he was already really sick, but like things went downhill really quickly. And, he passed away like pretty much right after her and I had met. And I just saw her one night and my phone died. So I didn't have her number, and it was just like, who was that girl? Whatever. And then I saw her a month later. The first time I went out after my dad died, I went to Brett's and was just kind of like sullen. And then I saw her and I was like, oh my God, I think that's a girl. Like, and I like asked one of the people that I used to be at the bar all the time. I was like, hey, is that girl's name Nicole? And they're like, yeah, we know her name's Nicole because you made out with her. And I was like, cool, that's what I'm looking for. Got it. So whatever. I mean, that's our love story.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like that's pretty on par for
Right.
a lot of lesbians.
Right. It seems appropriate. So yeah, then I saw her that
definitely
night, and I
does.
haven't not seen her since that night.
Wow, that's
Now I
amazing.
just look at her.
Also very lesbian. It's also
Yeah,
very
yeah,
lesbian
we're
thing. Yeah.
super U-Haul-y. Like, I was like, where are we moving into? So yeah, we've been together since 2008, right before the bar opened, pretty much.
So let's talk about the engagement ring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the engagement ring, because I know
Yeah.
that you designed her engagement ring, and this ends up actually
Coming full circle. Yeah.
Yes, ends up
Very
coming
weird.
full circle and opens up this new opportunity for
Yeah.
you. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
So, Nicole had kind of threatened my life to one of our friends who was like, if I don't have a ring by the time we're together for 5 years, then like she's not serious. So I was like, oh, I better get my shit together. And so I was a little gun shy because when I met Nicole, I had just gotten out of a longer relationship. And so at any rate, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And my grandmother, my great grandmother actually had 3 diamonds, and my mom has one. My ex-sister-in-law has another one. And then I gave Nicole the 3rd one. And so I was like, I need to design a ring around this because this is the diamond I have. You're not getting a different diamond. I don't have a different diamond. This is the diamond I have. And I knew Nicole's preference was definitely a princess cut. And I was like, I have a round, and that's what I have. And that's like, that's the life you shall lead. Like, I got round money, which is free. So, so I went into Jaffe, and my dad had gone into Jaffe once to get something for my mom because, like, he was always a Joseph Licata Jewelers guy. And when Licata went out of business, he was like, well, I guess we're going to Jaffe, which I don't know why, and I can't ask him. So that's just where we're at. But I was like, jewelry stores are nerve-wracking. Like, how do you know where to go, right? And I just wanted it to be like ethical. I wanted it to be queer friendly. Like, I had a lot of things in my head, but also like, I don't know how to ask all that. So I like went in and I had a drawing, and I was like, this is the ring I want to make. Do you guys do custom? Do you guys like gays? I'm sweating. What's happening? Whatever. And they're just like, could you relax? Here's a dog. Here's a beer. It'll be fine. And I was just like, oh, I am distracted now. And fell in love with.
That would have sold me like the dog.
Right.
Right off
Well,
the bat.
there's a cutest dog named Lily at the time, and she's awesome. A beardy, and they're just these like walking like hair purses. It's delightful. And she was perfect. But yeah, so I met Michelle Jaffe, and just we hit it off right away. That's awesome. She was like, so you counter sketch? And I was like, huh? Like, which is being able to draw jewelry like in front of people, which I'm like, oh yeah, can I draw in front of people? Sure. Like, if they don't like it, then I have an eraser right here. Like, it's not a problem. So she kept for a couple years being like, you should come here and work. And I'm like, I'm not a jeweler for sure. I don't know what that means. And then one day they were I ran into them at a local sushi place, and she was just like, we really need help for Christmas. Like, we really need help. Do you know anybody? And I was like, I'll work for you. And I was at Collingwood at that point. And so we had just closed the bar, or maybe we're just getting ready to close the bar. I don't remember, but I definitely was looking for my next kind of like opportunity. And I started there, and I've been doing jewelry design with them ever since. Awesome. And I helped them with some of their events and marketing and stuff like that. But they're one of the coolest families in the city. And I really like have found a weird passion for drawing jewelry, which is like unexpected for me. But I mean, we designed this one, which
so cool.
Looks pretty boring, but is actually really cool and has Moko Megami and
that
meteorite.
That is really awesome.
Wow. So yeah, that's what I do.
That's
a little
amazing.
bit of everything. And I've been helping them out for a long time, but I also do the Collingwood Art Center, which is my baby.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, and let's talk about art, because I know you are incredibly passionate about art, and I know you have a very eclectic background with it.
Okay.
I know that you were a tattoo artist for a while,
Truth.
right?
Yeah.
And in general have done some very interesting things. So looking at your eclectic background and all the different things that you have done artistically, how do you feel like that ultimately prepared you for your current role as the artistic director at Collingwood Art Center?
I have no idea.
I love that honesty so much.
The Collingwood is low-key like a giant grounded pirate ship that is confusing and like, what? Like, what? Like, it's 86,000 square feet. Like, conceive of
huge.
that. Like,
It's
my first
huge.
house was like 964 square feet. I can fit so many houses in the Collingwood. Like, so many houses. Do you know how many cars that is? Like, just so many cars.
No, because like you,
I don't math.
No,
I also
no
don't math. But like, that's roughly 86 houses is what I'll tell you. That's a lot of houses that we could fit in that building. We can't, because you can't, the doors aren't big enough. I don't math, but I know I can't get a house in the door. Somebody asked me if I could put a car in there once, and I was like, we'll have to measure it. I can definitely get a golf cart into the building. I feel confident in that. I've never tried, but maybe that's a great thing for Old West End Fest this year.
Experiment.
Beep, beep.
Yeah.
So the Collingwood I'm super passionate about. I've been trying to work there since I was in my 20s. I kept going back and being like, how about you hire me? And they'd be like, who are you, little boy? Walk away. And I'd be like, so how about now? And then they would always just be like, okay, we don't have a position or whatever. And so I just always said, how about now? And then we did a fundraiser for the Collingwood Art Center's elevator at Outskirts once, which a very aggressive drag queen, which we all know and love, Thunder Pussy from back in the day, forced people to buy paintings, which was hilarious. And then right before we went to do wigs and makeup, Nicole and I used to do wigs and makeup professionally. And right before we traveled to go do that, I met a woman named Sarah Kerfus at Collingwood, and a friend introduced us, and we hit it off like right away. And I was like, dude, you got to hire me when we get back. We're going on tour. I'll be back in March. You got to hire me. And she was like, if you're still interested when you get back, we'll see if we have something available. I was like, yes. So when I like saved up all my money when we were out on tour and came back, and I was like, Sarah, you gonna hire me? And she was like, I'm all the residents are gonna be leaving the Collingwood Art Center, which is what the Collingwood was known for, is having artist residencies. So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what'd you say? And she was like, yeah, everyone's leaving. Like, we don't have heat for the building. We don't have like an environment that is safe, and we're not able to sustain this. And it's just like, okay, that's weird. So I had to kind of think about that. And I also had to have heart surgery real quick. Because my heart didn't pace properly, so it would just be like, we would just be like this, and it'd be like 200 beats a minute, and like that felt like you're running a marathon while you're sitting. It's very weird.
Wow.
So I had a thing called an ablation, and then I went back like, hire me now. And she was like, absolutely, I can give you $10 an hour for 10 hours a week. And I was like, I'll take it. And so my first paycheck was like $80. And I thought Nicole would fire me as a wife. Well, as a partner at that time, gay marriage wasn't legal yet.
Right.
I didn't get fired at either thing. And now I'm married to Nicole and the Collingwood.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I feel like that speaks to how passionate you were about working there, period.
Man.
That you were willing to start knowing the pay and everything.
Oh, yeah. I didn't care. I was just like, I just want to work here. I love it so much.
Yeah. So thinking about everything that you do have done with the Collingwood, what in everything that you do lights you up most? What do you love most about it?
Oh, man. We do really cool stuff. All of it. I love seeing the artists. We have like 80 some studios, and we stay almost at 100% rented all the time now, which is really cool because there were like 4 when I started that were rented. And it was, we had to clean every single one and paint every single one and check it's been a labor of love, truly. So I love seeing people the weird thing is, because for so long there was just nobody coming to the Collingwood.
Yeah.
And then we were like always hoping like, oh my God, like won't it be great when we get to see this parking lot just full, like the building filled with energy or whatever. And like, so now so often the parking lot's full that I wish it was empty sometimes. And like one of my best days last month, or this month rather, was I just looked out and it was like a Thursday and there was just no one there. And it was like, it was just delightful
like
to
you
be.
could breathe a little bit?
It was like awesome, and like it was warm, and everything smells good in there now. It's just it's just a different vibe, and it's really cool to kind of come all the way around at that. So
That's awesome.
I couldn't be happier. We've been in the black fully since 2020, and it feels like a huge accomplishment, really.
That's awesome.
So I couldn't be happier.
I think that they got so lucky having you out of all
No, I
seriousness,
appreciate
having
it.
your energy and your insight. I feel like taking your fresh outlook on everything.
Yeah,
has
I
been
appreciate that.
Immensely.
Yeah, I truly have
there.
no idea what I'm doing. But that's kind of like my skill set is like, I'm kind of boingy, like the dog. and I just want to keep doing stuff. So like, I just do things until something works. And like, I have a lot of failures inside of that. And like, I wouldn't say I'm comfortable with it, but like, I'm definitely used to it where I'm like, well, that didn't work. Like, and then, so like, but I'm pretty good at figuring out what didn't work about something and like pivoting to either kill it or make it happen in a way that will actually work.
What do you think is the biggest gift in failing at something? And I actually don't really, failure, I struggle with the concept of failure because I kind of feel like anytime you actually put effort into trying something and you see it through until it either no longer serves you or you just get glaring evidence that it's not working, to me that's not failure. That's still seeing it through. What do you feel like is the biggest benefit in not having things work out?
I just think learning. It's like every time you have something not work out, you're like, oh, how did I market that? Or like, what did I like? What like usually things not working out is because people didn't show up. My most recent failure, and it's not a failure, it was absolutely a huge success, but also felt like a failure to me, was 2 weeks ago we had Fringe Festival. And it's our first time doing it big. It's the first time since the pandemic that like we've been able to really like have so many artists in and do all this stuff. And so I think last year, we did a little Fringe Fest last year. We had like 20 people there and it was fine and it was cool. And the artists were like, everything was cool. And so Friday of the weekend of Fringe Fest, that Friday, the festival was on Sunday. Am I right? No one knows. No one can remember that kind of information. You'll have to fact check it. I don't know when it was. It was Saturday or Sunday. But when I left work on the last weekday, we had sold 27 tickets. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. Like, whatever, fine. Like, even if it doubles at the door, we're good. And then more than a couple hundred people came. And I was like, oh, this was not the plan. And so, like, all of a sudden, the wheels fell completely off the plan, which the plan was fringy. So, like, the plan was always weird to start with. And so it was just this really strange mix of, getting locked in a Mariah Carey room to find a white elephant gift while she sings All I Want Is Christmas With You, and the room is decorated like Christmas, or like forced improv, or like this vaudeville singer, or a Pez installation. It was just all weird stuff that landed at burlesque. And I had told the burlesque performers, like, okay, probably gonna be a room of like 10 or 15 people twice. So they're gonna do 2 shows. And the first show had like 60 people in it. And I was like, I don't know, I can't help you. Like, I put out 20 chairs that were ready for 15 butts. And we were just gonna have some like extra chairs. That is not what happened. Wow. So like the fact that the plan failed is a success. You know what I mean? Because like we had so many people and that was a massive chaotic mess. But it was so awesome and everyone that came really enjoyed themselves. So that was the first year of the Smell-O-Vator. Ask me what the Smell-O-Vator was.
What is the
8 urinal cakes on a small elevator. Smell-O-Vator!
That's amazing.
People didn't necessarily think it was amazing, but I couldn't stop laughing. And it definitely was a Smell-O-Vator. So I feel pretty proud.
My brain is locking on to what you said about sometimes failing is actually not failing. It's actually a really good thing.
Right.
Because sometimes you set this expectation for a project or whatever endeavor you're going after, and it fails in the sense that you anticipated a much more minimal thing than what you actually ended up having happen.
Or that the minimal thing works. Yeah. I did something where I expected 50 people and like 15 people came, but the 15 people that came were so engaged and so into it that like the nonprofit we worked with got more donations than I expected, and everyone was just like it turned into like this really small, like intimate, like musical gathering, and it was just really cool. Like, so like I think every time you fail, even though like the anxiety of like, oh crap, this isn't going to be what I think it's mostly like not knowing what to expect, right? And then you have to be like, okay, am I okay? I'm good. Everybody's good, so I'm good. If everyone's good, then I must be good. Like, but I mean, like sometimes it takes me an hour or 2 to realize that I'm good into something, and then I'm like, okay. Or like, when you start to think about it the day after, then you're like, here's what I'll do next time, and it'll be better. And obviously there will be a different level of chaos than you expect, because you'll be like, I course corrected everything, and then something new completely happens. So you're like, okay, we're going to course correct again.
I can very much empathize because for me, the unknown, I really struggle with that.
Yeah.
It really does make the anxiety pop off, but I feel like you having the passion and the drive to push through that anxiety of seeing that it's not even just, I feel like it's important for people listening and watching to understand is it's not like you're talking about these small endeavors. It's going into huge endeavors, not knowing so many different factors, but having the drive and the willingness to still be able to push through that unknown.
I think as long as you can try and keep it safe, that's my main fear. There was one Pride where a bunch of tents went up, and I didn't know the importance, which sounds so stupid now to me, but I didn't know the importance of waiting a tent and what that would do to an event, especially when you have dozens of tents. And so all these tents and I'm like, all it takes is one of these metal tents to hit somebody in the head.
Sure.
And like, I've ruined someone's life. You know what I mean? Like somebody could have died from that. So like, I think to me, as long as I do everything I can to make something safe, then after that, everything else is just like frosting. You know what I mean? Like you're just you're like, okay, well, this will like be great or mediocre, but safe and great or mediocre. And like that, like, but like, and safe is like anything else, you know, it's only what we can control. So
yeah, I feel like you also dropped a great nugget of wisdom for anyone who's thinking about doing a large scale event, that you need to weight your tents.
Weight your tents. 40 pounds per leg. I can handle 25 pounds per leg, which can be done with cat litter. Call me for any other advice.
So speaking of Pride, let's talk about you and the LGBTQIA plus community in general, because I consider you and your name to kind of be synonymous with our community, and
okay,
you have a big
I'm loud.
Yeah, no, you have a big mark on it in that you have impacted our community, I think, in ways that you're never going to understand, and in such immensely positive ways. So when you think about our Toledo LGBTQIA plus community, what do you love about it?
Dude, all of it. We're rad. I mean, my favorite Pride 2019, the year before COVID, I was like trying to manage some traffic because I did not block a roadway that I probably should have. So I was like, so I was being orange cones. I was being a human orange cone. Yeah. I was trying to stop people from coming down this one street into Pride. And these two young men, like 15 years old, walked by me, just holding hands at the Pride Parade, not giving a shit about what anyone thought. And it was so cool. And then like a giant rainbow semi drove right behind them while they were walking. I was like, this is like so cool. Like, this is like why we do this. Like, I would have never, I mean, I remember, and Nicole knows this, I mean, I did not feel comfortable holding hands. I mean, you've probably been through that. When I started dating Nicole, she was 22 and I was 28. And I remember like being at like, you know, let's say Franklin Park Mall or whatever. And she would go to reach for my hand. And I just like instinctively pulled away. Like, we're not about to make out in public. Cause that's what it felt like. It felt like you were like PDA, because people had that whole like, it's not that I don't like gay people. It's just, I don't want them to shove it in my face. And you're like, oh, is hand holding shoving in your face? Is that what that is?
That is literally, like, you are spot on though.
Well, you couldn't have a picture of your partner on your desk. Right. You couldn't be like, I used to have people at one of my jobs be like, have you found a nice boy yet? And I never lied to people, but I worked at a space where it wasn't okay to be out. And so he'd just be like, not yet. You know what I mean? Like, what do you, like, look at me. Do I look like that's what I'm going for? But like, whatever, you know? And I really respected the environment that I worked in. So it's not that I didn't question it. And I still looked the way I look, but I just, I didn't speak about my personal life openly because it wasn't a welcoming environment for that. And I think that is becoming less expected, which is really cool. You know, like, I mean, I would have never had a picture of myself and my partner on my desk at that job ever. Like, I can't even, you know, it just wouldn't have been a thing, you know, like having like a keychain picture of, you know, you and your dogs or whatever. Like, that's not like, it wasn't a thing. So it's really neat to be like married. Like, what? Like, it's just so weird. It's so weird. And it's so cool. You know, I don't think I ever thought like in high school, like, oh, I could marry a girl. I was like, how do I like get away with like living with another girl? Like, that's what I want to know how to do. Like, you know, how do I, like, I guess I'm just like a cat lady spinster. Like, I don't know. Like, and we just, like, it's really weird to see these kids who are, 20s and under, where like they've seen queer people represented on TV. So they're like, well, yeah, like that, like, it's just not weird to them,
Right.
Which I like, love it,
I love it too. It also blows my mind at the same time. I'm like, where's your internalized shame?
Yeah. Well, like, do you remember like back in the day, you'd be walking down the street and you'd see another queer person and you would go, you knew what was happening to each other and you just nod and that was it. And I know other minorities do similar things.
It means a lot though. That's
and it's just like, I see you, but man, they don't anymore, which is so cool. Like the little lesbians, they do not care. I'll be like, what up, what up, what up? They're just like, which is so great. Yeah. They're just like, whatever. Like, so it's like the coolest thing ever. Like, that's like progress. Like, that's like really, I mean, you couldn't have paid me 10 years ago to go into a straight bar and like hang out.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't have felt comfortable. There's no way. And like, now I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Like, I mean, I'm still going to go to George's if I can, You know what I mean? I'm still like, what I'm going to choose and what I'm going to feel comfortable with are two different things, And so like, I just think it's really cool. It's really cool to see how far we've come. Also, we have so much further to go and people are being scary weird now. Like, the people that were scary weird before are like scarier, weirdier. You're just like, what are you doing? Like, why do you care where I pee? Stop.
Right.
Stop it.
Right. I totally know what you mean. It's almost, I don't know how you feel about it, but my wife and I have talked about this a lot. It's almost like there is just constantly, with the state of things, this uneasy energy.
Yeah.
Just constantly.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, I don't know how it is for you, but I look at some of what has become issues again, and I really can't wrap my mind around it. That we have just the progress that we made over the years, not just halted it, but that we're literally moving backwards in time.
We're just going back for fun. Yeah. Like, doo-loo-loo-loo. Like, what? Like, I don't think so. But simultaneously, that people who aren't a part of this community cannot see it. They're kind of just like, well, everything's cool now, right? We're good now, right? We did all the things and we're fine. And look how married you are. And you're like, yeah, that wasn't, I also wanted to be comfortable peeing. We wanted to have the same rights as everyone else.
Exactly.
We really thought that was kind of important.
To just be able to exist without fear and anxiety over simply existing exactly as you are.
Right. And we have the things that we take, like I said, safety is a big thing for me. And there are things that we take into account every year for Pride, to try and make that a safe event for people. And some of those things are, I guess, change based on what the threat is that year or what the anticipated, I guess, danger is for that year.
I have to
which has been different over the years.
I have to commend you because I've been to every Pride since Pride started here. And I can definitely say, out of any emotion that I felt at Pride any of the years I've been to, fear has never been that. So clearly you did a great job with the security measures. It did kind of bring a couple things to my mind. So thinking about the security aspect of it, what is that like for you, knowing what the numbers were the first year to now? Toledo Pride's grown to like over 20,000 participants. What is that like for you now, trying to continue to provide a safe environment with the changing factors in the world and seeing the exponential growth factor that's happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's different and it's hard. And, we've had threats more than once on the event, and that's scary. Especially like I'm a very worried human anyway. I just kind of am an anxiety monster.
It's okay.
Yeah. I just I'm kind of built that way. So it's weird. And then, I think one of the main things that we try to do is make sure that our security and our police officers that are involved with the event are LGBT or allies, trying to make sure that they want to be there, not that they have to be there. Like, that's not who we're looking for. We're looking for someone who's going to defend our community. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't make sure that everyone is safe, and that includes the protesters. That includes anyone who comes to our event who doesn't agree with us.
I feel the vibe of genuine care and investment. I'm just thinking about the parade specifically, because you see a lot of cops at the parade, and one thing that I appreciate is I feel like you really can tell that the ones that are there genuinely want to be there.
They want to be there.
Because you can see it in how they are trying to protect everyone. You can also see it in the fact that they're looking at you warmly. They're not looking at you.
Right. They're not trying to control you. They might have a little rainbow ribbon on their on their outfit or the uniform for the day. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome, and it's it's been really great because the queer community has a rather checkered past with law enforcement. It's why Pride was started in the first place. It's what the Stonewall riots were about. So I understand that there's a rich and complicated history there. We also have a lot of queer law enforcement people.
We do. That's true.
And there's also, larger problematic issues that are national and global, and we have to take all those things into account. And that's really so that being said, I don't really want Pride to get much bigger. That's not really the goal. The goal is to be able to make a better event that can remain really local focused and really safe. That's why we chose a few years ago to really, we don't try to bring in performers from out of town. We try to focus on local performers. Not to say that some people don't come in from out of town, but we're not that's not what we're going for. We're really trying to support the people who are working in this community day in, day out,
I feel like y'all do a really, really good job of that.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I actually thought of this too. So I remember the first year that protesters did show up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm very interested to know if you had a similar reaction or very different from mine. So the first time I saw protesters, my first reaction was actually, oh wow, we're big enough now that we have voting.
You're kind of excited. Oh, you hate me. You hate me? Right. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say I like protesters. I'm not happy they're there.
Yeah.
But I think that they're there for the same reason that I'm there. And it's because they believe in whatever they're doing so inherently that they feel called to be there. And I feel the same way, so I respect the hell out of it. But if you bring kids and you do not bring them water, I will bring your kids water. I will make sure you're hydrated. I think making sure that, we had a situation that seemed pretty dangerous. I want to say it was 2019, where there was this guy who wouldn't stop. He was just yelling and telling everyone they're going to go to hell and talking to kids like that and all this stuff. And I tried to give him a separate space. I'm like, I'll give you a megaphone. I can set up a microphone if you give me a couple minutes. You can totally still talk to every person who crosses by, but you don't need to be going in and out of the crowd because, you're going to get beat up, sir. Good sir. You are going to get beat up. And I'm just letting you know, you only have 2 friends with you. And there are just so many of us. There are just so many of us right now. So, it's the wrong crowd. And he just couldn't be, talked to. And somebody eventually, which I don't know who this is, so Facebook me if it was you. But after we had crossed the same people multiple times and he kept just yelling the same stuff, which to our community feels very hate fueled, right? And to him, he felt like he is speaking his truth. So I also appreciate what you're doing. I just wish you would do it over here where I can keep you safe. Yeah. And you can be as loud as you want. I can give you extra speakers, whatever you need to do, sir. And my crowd will just go to their party, right? And somebody ran up with it's not funny. It's funny to me, but it's not funny. But somebody ran up with a cup and I thought, oh God, it's a cup of hot coffee, and threw it on him. And he was so mad, and it was a cup of glitter, and it was full of glitter, and he was all sweaty, and he was so glittered. And I couldn't not giggle. And he was just like, see what your people do. And I was like, I mean, as things go, this could have gone worse, but bro, you just got glitter bombed. I didn't even know it was a thing, and you're so sweaty, and you know what sweating and glitter means. That's not coming off. That's still on his camouflage backpack, I'm sure. It's years later, and he's still should have never gone to Pride, washing his bag. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, buddy.
I have to tell you, I feel like I already respect you so much, but I feel like my respect for you just went through the roof because I feel like you have to know that you still being so committed to providing a safe environment, even for the protesters, might not be the most popular thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
No.
I feel like this is kind of one of those situations where you are really tested. You know, do I still treat people like people?
Right, but
even when they're not treating me like a person.
Come from the protester's mind.
Yeah.
Just come from that mindset. I am going to tell thousands of people that I think that they're wrong and they're going to hell. Yeah. And I still feel like this is a good idea. Dude, he's there equally for something that feels intensely passionate to him as I am for what feels to me. And like, I've gotten myself to the point of like, with this particular guy, he was telling me, and Frankie was little, like, I think Frankie was probably 1. He was, no one knows, math again. But at any rate, he was like a baby. And I was just like, I mean, do you know Sherry Trepepi?
Yeah.
She pulled me away because she was like, okay, I think we're done. Because I'm in tears telling this man why I think he's wrong about my family's going to hell, which I do not even believe in. I'm not religious in that way. I'm very spiritual. I'm Unitarian, whatever. But like, he's like, I'm just like, do you think I would like bring my kid somewhere that I thought was going to send him to hell? Like what?
Right.
And Sherry was just like, we're done. And so I just told security, I was like, follow him, make sure nobody beats his ass. Like that, like at that point I was just like, okay, I do need to be done. I need to go to Pride now. I'm going to go to Pride now. Because I want to argue with him. I want to be like, you're wrong. Like,
I get it though, because I feel like for most of us, that has happened at one point.
Man.
Because I think it eventually does get you. I will tell you what it has been triggering for me with the protesters is, okay, so right now, I mean, Christianity is under fire hard because let's be honest, what we're seeing of it is, it's not amazing.
It doesn't always feel love-based.
No, exactly. And, I've had a lot of trauma in regard to the church. Somehow, throughout all of that I've experienced, I, for myself, in my own personal journey, have been able to separate the people from who I have faith in. Yeah. So I think what I struggle with is when I struggled with this the first time I saw them. When I see them, my heart breaks because I'm like, look at what you are telling these people that God is, that Jesus is, and it's really hard for me because I really truly do believe in my own personal belief system. Is that God is a God of love.
Right.
And it's not the hate the sin, love the sinner kind of love. Like it's literally loving them for the full person that
Which
they
makes
are.
sense. Like if God is all knowing and God is all loving, then he didn't make a mistake when he made you.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
when she made you. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
You're not a mistake. Like, and like if God is perfect, then you're not a mistake. So stop.
Yeah.
Stop with the shenanigans. Stop with the shenanigans.
Yeah.
Also, do you? I think
Right.
everybody needs to do their own thing and find their way to their personal truth. I do.
Possibly agree more.
But also, if we're trying to keep you safe, please let me keep you safe.
Exactly.
You're making me crazy.
Exactly.
Like,
so speaking of keeping people safe, let's talk about your family.
Man, they're the cutest.
They really are. So you have 2 kiddos.
Yep.
Yeah. So what was that like for the 2 of you starting your family, and how has parenthood changed you?
Yeah, so it's awesome and exhausting, and I was already tired, so I guess it's just like more of the same, but like with different stuff.
It's like a different kind of tired.
Right, I'm like, I was at soccer today.
Yeah.
My kid's 4. You're not good at soccer. You're just not good at soccer. You're 4. That's what's happening. But I'm going to tell him how good he is. There's a lot of thumbs up. Whatever. It's cool. Like, so I'm into it. I couldn't be more in love with Nicole, obviously. And I'm really, really honored to be getting to raise a family with her. And,
That's awesome.
My mom was with us, like I said, and we got my brother back recently from Cleveland.
Nice,
so he's been in Cleveland for 20 years. So we took him back. Haha, Toledo. Suckers, Cleveland. So yeah, we took back my brother, and he helps out with some childcare pickup and then teaching the 4-year-old how to play Minecraft because that's a necessity.
The
as you can
essentials.
you can imagine. So yeah, it's really freaking awesome. It didn't happen how I thought it would, and that was it's all a part of the journey, right?
Sure.
So what I imagined and how things happen are totally different, but I think that's like I said, it's not like it's never a failure, right? It's just like that's not how I thought we'd get here, and like okay, I guess like buckle up or whatever. Like So yeah, I couldn't be happier. And the kids are cool.
You also really dealt with a lot with Milo, because wasn't he born in 2020?
Yeah. He was a COVID guy.
Okay, so
100%.
The pandemic obviously 100% changed the way all of us worked and lived massively on a huge scale.
Yeah.
So first of all, what was that like bringing a COVID baby into the world? And how did you and your family adapt during the pandemic?
Well, you remember when COVID first hit and everybody was going out to, God, what was it called? It's like out at Flower Hospital. I can't remember, but everyone was going, is it Bayview or something? I don't know. That's probably Saved by the Bell. No one knows. It's Bay something, right? Bayside. Okay, we'll say Bayside Hospital. 100%. I'm totally right. Whatever. Wherever everyone was going at first, they were like quarantining all the COVID patients out at like Parkview, Bayside, Bayweather, Bellevue, over there. Yes. And so they were like, oh yeah, like if he's born, well, we didn't know it was a boy. If your kid's born, like, and you test positive during COVID, like you have to go there, you don't get your doctor because your doctor won't be able to go there. And like Milo's a C-section guy. So I was like, wait, what? And they're like, you won't have your doctor. You won't have whatever. Like, it was just like nuts. And you're like, excuse me. And then they're like, oh, and if you test positive and when the baby's born, the baby tests negative, which is like the inference is the baby's going to test negative. They're just taking the baby from people. And I was like, this seems wild. And like, also like, probably necessary, but like we're probably gonna hit someone also. Like it was just all these like unreasonable things because no one knew what was going on, right? So he ended up being born in August, which was much better than like March, right?
Yeah.
So we had probably just announced, I think we announced like the week before COVID really hit. And yeah, we had him in August and then we kept him at home, and photography like for his newborn shots were in the backyard with a photographer like over there with a mask on, and like me trying to like make the baby look rested, like here. There was no like yoga hat, wrapped in like pantyhose to try and make him look, I'm sleeping, I want a roller coaster or whatever. Like none of that happened.
Surviving.
I was just like, this is a baby proof, like whatever. So yeah, it was awesome, but really, really crazy. And nobody got to see him. So we were just somewhere recently, and so he was like, this is the first time I've ever met him. And I was like, I guess that makes sense, but it's so weird because like we really didn't go out for like a year. Really, you didn't like.
Right.
And Nicole is she was an ICU nurse. I mean, she's an ICU nurse, but she was a traveling nurse during a lot of COVID. Wow. So we were up in Detroit, and she was doing that, and like she was coming home and changing in the garage before she'd come inside, or going. We had a back door, coming in the back door, going straight to the shower, stripping, and put her clothes in the whatever. Just crazy. Like you're like, what's happening? And then of course the kids and I got COVID when Nicole was in Detroit working, and she never got it. She didn't get it until I think she got it this past year, during 2023 is what I mean by this past year. This current year is what I mean.
That's already in some ways felt like a full
math
12-month cycle.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like we got it, and Milo walked around like, oh my head, and it was the saddest thing ever because he was like not even 2, and you're just like,
oh, bud.
Bro, I'm sorry, but I feel terrible too. But I'm here to support you. Like, whatever. I'm going to take some more drugs. So, yeah, whatever. I mean, I had the same COVID as everybody else, just with a little baby involved.
Lots of challenges.
Right? Yeah. But I mean, I think everyone did. And like, I have a few friends who were just solo, and like couldn't go anywhere. Like my best friend, like didn't even have her dog. And so she was just like, I'm stuck inside by myself for all time. And like, we ended up making her a part of the quarantine pretty quickly after whatever. Cause like, it's like, we can't live without her and she can't live without us. So like, if we go down, we're all going down, which we did. She was when it came over and when we thought the kids might be sick, she tested both the kids. I think I had already tested positive, and I was upstairs and I was trying to figure out how I could I was Googling an astronaut helmet on Amazon. Nice. And I was like, if I taped the vents on the astronaut helmet and wore a mask, I should be able to see the kids, right? Because like all my germs will be in my astronaut.
Creative.
I thought it might work. I was just like, I feel like a turtleneck and some duct tape, and like we're good. But then they tested positive. I was like, whew, that's $23 I didn't need to spend.
Yeah, no kidding.
But like those vents, I would have been probably TikTok famous by now if
feel
I would have
like-
done the
I
astronaut
feel
helmet
like
thing, but
that- yeah,
it didn't work out that
definitely.
way. So here I am without my celebrity. It's so sad.
You're still doing okay.
Maybe we just get astronaut helmets and just do it anyway.
I think that's a great
Just
idea.
see what happens.
I don't think
Okay.
you need to have a reason for that.
Right, that's not a COVID thing. Oh, I have the flu. That's fine. I have allergies. Whatever. At any rate, yeah. Tell me about you. How was your COVID?
COVID was rough, but my wife and I both got COVID in 2020, and I believe it was
When did you guys get together?
October. We got together in June of 2020.
Oh.
Yes. So we
Scandal.
I know. So
Wait, that's during COVID.
it was during COVID.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did we meet?
So she and I have been friends for a really
So you're already
long time.
winking at each other
Yeah.
over the years?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've
Okay.
been friends for a long time, and COVID changed a lot for a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to be married and I wasn't.
Yep.
And she and I had been friends, and then we realized that we kind of super liked each
Right.
other.
Like,
and
we should play
yeah.
footsie.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we played a little footsie.
Some
and the
wholesome
rest is
footsie.
history.
Right.
But yeah, we had not been together for that long when we moved in together for that long when we went through COVID.
So whose house did we take over when COVID happened?
So we had friends that were doing a year in Alaska for a job, and so we were actually
Wait,
watching
that's
their
so
house.
random. Who are they? Tell us about
Yeah,
your friends in Alaska.
I don't think you know them. It's
Okay.
a social worker, and there was this.
And they were just like, we're going to go to Alaska, want the
Yeah.
house for a year? And you were like, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
that
we
would
would. That would
that'd
actually
work
be
out
really
perfect. You're
cool.
going to COVID Alaska?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I
They were
know.
traveling during that?
Yeah, so that was actually part of
Did
the
they have to walk?
motivator
Did they have
for
to
them.
snowshoe there?
So they don't do planes. So it was a mixture of driving and boating. To get
That
to
sounds
Alaska.
terrible.
It
That sounds
sounded
terrible.
horrible to me too. but-
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
got their house, so
Exactly.
jokes on them.
exactly.
Are they
So,
well?
Yeah, they're
That couple?
well.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
good.
yeah. So
Good to
we
hear.
we stayed there for a year, and then we ended up where we are now. But yeah, COVID for the two of us was awful, but it
Yeah,
also I
the
feel like
worst.
it also really brought us together because
Yeah, there was no way for it not
nothing-
to.
Are you a Parks and Rec fan?
I'm not, and I should. You know what, Nicole and I don't watch comedy. It
Oh,
seems
that's
like
okay. That's okay.
it seems off brand, but I'm just like we
That's alright.
don't really like.
Yeah.
I like a good rom com,
Okay.
but like I don't watch comedy shows. I'm not like, you know what I want to do? Laugh. I don't know. I'm a dud. Like people
I
be like,
love to
oh, do you
laugh.
love The Office? And I was like, I don't love the.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the. Like I kind of watched a few episodes of Schitt's Creek because I was
Yes.
encouraged to.
Oh, I'm a
But I'm
huge
more
Schitt's
like,
Creek
give me
fan.
some Breaking Bad. Give me
Okay.
some Grey's Anatomy.
Also great.
Walking Dead.
Also great.
Like I love some shows.
hung
I
in
just
for the entire Walking Dead, and I'm still.
We're back.
hanging
We're
in with
back.
Grey's Anatomy.
I would love to watch all of it, but we don't watch anything except for like Encanto and like Frozen
And
and
Kanto
like
is really, really good, but it tests you. I feel like after you hit a certain number.
okay, well we've
years.
watched it so many times.
Yeah, I bet.
And I would love to sing some songs for you after. There's
be
that. I
great.
do not have a singing voice, but I'm happy to sing for you. But also, what else do we watch? Strange World, which is great, super good representation too. If you haven't seen that, like
no, I have not.
little queer kid, interracial couple, it's a whole
Nice.
thing. I'm into it. But yeah, I mean, that's what
okay
we
that you're
watch.
not a comedy
We'll try and watch
person.
Walking Dead, and I'm like, Nicole, making you fall asleep every time. I'm like, the zombies are gonna wake the babies because we can't get them out of our bed. They sleep in our bed. It's the
I see.
worst.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Nicole was like,
Walking Dead
instead
would
of
not
get
be a very good.
right, so you just
yeah.
have to be like, shh, like, and instead of getting like the kids' beds that they would sleep in, which it's not like they don't have beds, but we just decided that, and by we I mean Nicole. She makes all the we decisions. That's really kind of how our relationship functions quite so well. But she was like, we just need a king bed to like handle the amount of humans in it. Whereas I would opt for a twin. That's really like, I'd be like, babe, let's snuggle. I'll be
Right.
the big spoon. That's what I want to do. But like,
she
she's
wants
like,
a little bit of
so what
space.
we need is like room for the dog and the cat and then the kids. And I'm
That's
just
great.
like, I feel like I'm over here and you're over there. Yeah. So that's what's happening in my house.
That's great.
Okay. How's your snuggling? How's your snuggle game?
Our snuggle game is pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
you like a
pretty
good snuggle game.
It's
What
a
are the
strong
dogs in the
snuggle
way?
I mean, they usually are.
They're not in the way.
I love to snuggle, but I like
Then
to
you wanna break
snuggle,
off.
and then I just want a little bit of air.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like to actually fall asleep, I can't be in full blown snuggle.
Right, okay.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently I snore now.
Do you?
Yeah, I get woken up several times a night because of it. I do wear a breathe right strip,
Okay.
but it doesn't seem to help all the way.
No.
Some snoring at my house, especially if I lay on my back. So I got to do the side sleeping. And I said, babe, this is last night, probably the third time she woke me up, like, you're snoring. And I can't hear it at all. Like, it's not waking me up.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sleeping perfectly well right now. That sound.
Yes.
And she's like, I'm like, so do I not snore when I'm on my side?
Yeah.
Like, is that what's happening? And she was like, I don't know, but it's not directed at me. Like, she can't hit, you know what I mean? If I'm like snoring at you, it's like a different thing. So if anyone has any snoring advice, would take some other than breathe right strips because it's not working. Okay, it's not working. Enough. But I do feel very clear nasally when I wear them, so I still like to wear them.
You hear that, Glass City humans? If you have any snoring suggestions,
hey yo, hit me up on the Book of Faces.
I'm so glad we finally got to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a long time coming. I have one more question for you.
Okay, hit me up.
Who inspires you?
Oh my God, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, I can't.
Too hard to nail it down.
Yeah, I don't know if I can think of anyone that doesn't. You know, like even like people that. No, yeah, everyone.
That's not surprising to me because you remind me in this regard to Big C. So
okay, I love him.
He was my very first interview.
Love it.
For season 1.
What a handsome fella.
He really is.
If I was gonna go for the fellas,
so much.
Big C's a good one.
He was my best man, and my
well played.
height has never been so obvious as when he was standing.
You gotta get those internet shoes that give you 2.4 inches.
Wow.
You just jump into them and then you'll be like 6'2". It's gonna be great.
5'5".
Right.
Wow, that's the dream.
0.3.
Yeah,
awesome.
I get that though. He's had
dope.
The same answer as you, and I'm gonna tell you the same thing that I told him. That does not surprise me because you to me seem like a person that absorbs, and so you look at the people in your life and you absorb the touches from them that you feel like you want to stick with you and help you grow. So I can totally see why.
No, I think I'm a really like it sounds weird, but I think I'm a really jealous person, and I want to do what other people do. Like I'm like I see somebody do something, like even this painting, it's not a painting, it's a picture of David Bowie. Yeah. But like there's a ripped corner of cardboard on the edge, and I immediately want to go home and paint, and I want to paint a rip into a painting because like everything I see just kind of like I'm like, ooh, what can you do with that? But I think that's like jealousy mixed with ADHD. It's like a cauldron of crazy.
And being an artist because
it makes Nicole crazy, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So it's just like there are those things, and I think every person that I meet like just does like cool stuff that I don't know how to do, and I'm like, now I don't know how to do the cool stuff I don't know how to do. Damn it. So then you just have to like learn, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And learning's like the best when it's not math. Shout out to all the people who love math. Like, get it. You have to because we can't.
Right.
They've got to do it. Somebody's got to math.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not going to be me, though.
It's not going to be me. I don't know. They're like, well, we got to send a thing at the meteorite to make sure it doesn't hit Earth. You should. I need you to. I need you to so I can paint something because, like, I'm not doing it. Right?
Right, exactly.
Heard.
You want to say anything to our community before we call this?
No, Ashley's dope. Come hang out with her. Come sit in this chair. It's real squishy.
We do have fun.
She a comfy chair.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
We do strive for comfort.
And I do like this microphone. It's very
right?
Yeah, it's not too heavy. I'm not sure how to make it look cool. I feel like I should have had a but I also felt like this would have been cool, but it didn't.
You looked very natural the whole time, but I
kept trying
this
to.
Would have been
Well, this would have maybe been a little more Beastie Boys of
definitely.
Me. But I didn't have that opportunity. And this feels a little too. Oh, you should get squares, those squares on the outside that say like Heart of Glass, but like it's like that square. Idea. It's like coming to you live from the Love Goods.
That's a really good idea. I like that idea.
I'm not going to drop your mic.
I'll have to get the little squares.
Yeah, or we can just paint them. Anyway, I'll stop talking.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Call me. Cool. I love you.
I'll do whatever you want. Same, dude.
I'm so glad we did this.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to hang out with you.
Yes, I'm so glad we finally got to have like a normal conversation.